We are continuing our work in quadratic functions and business. This lesson is growing your business, and you have your Pear Deck. We're going to be solving some problems that have to do with people who own business and how they're trying to maximize their profits or minimize their cost. On your assignment page, there are some interactive graphs that you are welcome to try out. And we'll get started with the very first prompt on slide number 2. We notice that there is a graph. There's some information on the graph. There are certain numbers on the x-axis and numbers on the y-axis. And there's a curve. And the question we have is, what do you notice about this graph and what do you wonder about? And you're going to respond to what do you notice by maybe just making a simple observation. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate unless you want it to be. And what do you wonder about? Maybe you can think about the context of businesses. Pause the video and then come back, and please respond to those 2 prompts. All right, we're on slide number 3. Xavier bakes and sells loaves of artisan bread at the local farmer's market. Xavier sells out of his product each week, and he's thinking about raising the price per loaf. He wants to make maximum profit, but he wonders if there's a limit for how much he should sell each loaf for. Xavier knows that the profit P of X he makes selling loaves of bread can be modeled by the function P of X is equal to negative 0.15 x squared, so it's a quadratic function, plus 2.7x plus 240, where x is the number of 5-cent price increases. Interpret the graph of Xavier's function. What we want you to do is identify the y-intercept. Please put this in correct ordered pair notation form with parentheses and a comma separating the coordinates. X-intercept, the maximum profit, and the number of price increases needed to maximize the profit. So, reminder, you have these interactive graphs. You can tap on these points of interest. So the way Desmos is designed, it's very nice. There are certain points of interest, namely the y-intercept, the x-intercept, and the maximum value. Take a look at your graph, answer these questions, pause the video, and then come back when you're ready. Okay, so let's just make sure that you're aware this is the y-intercept because it's where the graph crosses the y-axis. Here's your x-intercept, and this is your maximum value. So the coordinates of the y-intercept are 0, 240. X-intercept, 50, 0. The maximum profit is $252.15. Now, how did I know that? Well, the maximum point has 2 coordinates. I want the y-coordinate because the y-axis measures profit. And then the last question, how many price increases are needed to maximize the profit? That would be 9 because the x-axis reflects price increases, so the x-coordinate of the maximum value. I hope that makes sense. And you might be wondering, where's the other half of this graph? Isn't there supposed to be a line of symmetry where the left half matches the right? There normally is. But in the context of business, in certain contexts, it doesn't make sense to have negative x values because the fewest number of price increases you can have is 0, right? So keep all that in mind. Let's move on to the next example, slide 4. Layla owns a small photography studio. She offers photo books for her clients and determines the profit P of X from producing each photo book is P of X equals negative 0.02x squared. Again, it's a quadratic function that opens down, plus 5.4x plus 16, where this time X is the number of $1 price increases. Using the graph, determine the answers to the following questions. So here are your questions, and you're going to pause the video and answer these, preferably in complete sentences. What profit does Layla make from her photo books if there are no price increases? So you want to find the place on the x-axis that would help you answer that question. What profit does she make if there's no price increases? How many price increases will maximize her profit? And what is the approximate maximum profit that can be obtained? Approximately how many price increases would cause the photo books to make zero profit? And remembering there is an interactive graph, you can tap on these points, and that gives you some information, perhaps. Pause the video. Please answer these questions in complete sentences and come back. Question number 1. Layla has a profit of $16 per book with no price increases because here's my graph. Zero price increases, she still makes a $16 profit. But Layla's thinking that's not really enough profit for all the time it takes her to make each of these books. So how many price increases will maximize the profit? Well, here's my maximum point. How many price increases? I'm looking at my x coordinate, 135. What is the approximate maximum profit that can be obtained? Again, my maximum point, I want my y coordinate of 380.50, and approximately how many price increases would cause the photo books to make zero profit? If she keeps increasing the price per book, eventually she's not going to make any profit because she's going to lose customers. That's $272. Excuse me, pardon me, 272.9 price increases, which is about 273 price increases. So very important that we keep looking at the context and looking at the graph and the axes. All right, let's move on to number 5. A local bakery, now we're talking about a bakery, that's the business, sells 50 homemade cookies a week at a cost of 65 cents per cookie. They want to raise the cost by 10 cents each week until profits are maximized. So here's my x-axis, the number of 10-cent price increases. My y-axis, the profit per cookie. I have a maximum point here, and these coordinates represent something in the context of the problem. This y-intercept represents something. The x-intercept represents something. We have the equation that models this function, and we want to determine what cost per cookie will maximize the profit. Now, this is a tricky problem. This is tricky. So in this particular problem, you want to look at the original cost per cookie. You want to look at how many price increases are needed to maximize profits. How much is each price increase? So could you add the original cost per cookie plus the value of this many price increases? That should be the cost per cookie that would result in a maximum profit. Please pause the video, write your answer in a complete sentence, and please explain your thinking. So here we have the bakery should raise the cost per cookie to $1.25 per cookie. Why? Well, they currently charge 65 cents per cookie, as you know, and they will add 6 10-cent price increases. So what is 6 times 10 cents? That's 60 cents. We're adding that to the 65-cent original price per cookie, giving us $1.25 is how much the new cost per cookie should be. So notice neither of these coordinates was the answer to this question. This question took a little bit more thought. Slide number 6. Nasim owns a company that produces guitars. The company's daily production cost can be modeled by a function with a positive leading coefficient. So this one opens up. There's a minimum value instead of a maximum value. And we're talking about production costs, so we want to keep our costs down. The graph of the function is shown. What is the y-intercept? So once again, you do have an interactive graph, or you can also interpret it here. What does the y-intercept represent in the context of the problem? What does it mean? 800 what? 0 what? And what are the coordinates of the vertex? vertex is the turning point where this graph changed from decreasing to increasing, the low point. What do these coordinates represent, the 20 and the 700? 20 what? 700 what in the context? Please pause the video and answer these questions right here. Number your responses 1, 2, 3, and 4. Come back when you are ready. Let's see if our answers match. The y-intercept is 0, 800. The y-intercept represents the daily production cost, which is $800 of producing 0 guitars. The coordinates of the vertex are 20, 700, and in context, the vertex represents the daily production cost of $700 for producing 20 guitars. We have one final task for you, and we would like you to respond to one or more of these prompts. What did you learn in this lesson? Did anything surprise you? What would you be interested to learn more about?